Well, hello there, everybody. How are y'all doing? So good to see you. Thank you for being part of the journey as I hit the button here, button there. And so we're all good to go. Bus is all cleaned, restocked all the libations. And so grab yourself a seat, sit down. Thank you for being part of this journey. It's a lot better when we're together. Hey, that's a rhyme all the time. Right on the dime. Well, a little magical going on here, say it 3 times and it shall become that reality. So, hey, speaking favor over us all, nothing missing, nothing broken. And again, thank you for tuning in, and heck, hit the like button, feed the machine. And while you're at it, make sure to go over to Rumble, subscribe over there because, changes are afoot. We're going to be talking to. By the way, the shirt says Earth is ruled by idiots. So I actually had my shirt printed up because, yeah, the idiocy, the era of idiocy. It could be ERA, era, or air, or who knows. What's up? Love and loyalty. Thank you. Peace to you. Hey, Mary Wins, how are you? Good to see you. And Paradox Fossil, Deborah, how you doing? Lost in Space. And Scotty Boy, I see is in the room. Brian, 1958, what's up? Hey, Morgan, here you had a little bit of the food poisoning. Well, we're just going to send you some healing power, but I have a sense that you're on the upside from that. I mean, it's like being, what is the old idiom? A dollar short and an hour late, something like that. Yeah. Often wonder where that came from. Don't know. Go figure it out. Idioms. I love that. So, Lori, hello, Pin Greedy. Good to see you. And I think Gogo's in the room all the way from Croatia. And who else did I see from Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania? Thank you. So we're going to get into some stuff today. Rick, what's up, brother John? How you doing? I have the Maelstrom. Good to see you. Cecilia, how are you? Happy Wednesday. It is hump day. Make sure to check out Miss Nina on her new channel. I love that. Cecilia, one of my favorite songs of Simon and Garfunkel. Yeah. Cecilia, you're breaking my heart. Hey, Bonnie, what's up, girl? Good to see you as well. So, changes. What I want to make sure. By the way, thank you all for those who felt led to help Kaz out. There's a lot of need in this family, and we are doing our best to make sure that those needs don't go unfulfilled. Remember, if they got it in the book, then there's a reason for they put it in there, even from an esoteric point of view, calling those things that be not as though they are. Hell, you want to talk about quantum physics, something that was known to humans thousands of years ago, calling those things that be not as though they are. I mean, isn't that the same thing as abracadabra? I create what I speak. Yeah. So if you don't doubt, remember what I told you about doubt? If you will learn to doubt your doubts, you'll never doubt your doubts again. Now, there's going to be a test at the end of the show. No, just kidding. But seriously, I mean, I learned this stuff. And now I realize, as I continue in my journey in my youth, I'm finding out that shit really works, man. That's all I got to tell you. Hey, Susie Q, good to see you. Nina, hello. Yeah. I mean, it is a part of the fiber of my being. I know. I know what faith is. I know that so well. And even, doubts will always come, but, Now faith is. So that's the principle of learning to understand that we are in the moment. Interesting place we occupy, the moment, but yet we exist to see the future, which is really nothing more than the past. So now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Deep stuff, people. And if you grab a hold of that, you can literally be that master wizard, witch, however you want to call it. You can pass any initiation, become an adapt into the mystery schools. I mean, you could sit down and I could see this, and they say, so tell us, how do you see yourself in the universe? I call those things that be not as though they are. We know what they're going to do. Welcome. Glad to see you. Have you? Yeah. So that's what it's all about, man. It truly is. Who else is out there? William, good to see you. Yosley, hello, favorite, back at you. So anyway, idiots. Boy, did y'all listen to the Steve Miller thing I left in there? I tell you what. Yeah. Love Steve Miller. I saw him a number of times. Hey, Gilbert, and the rest of y'all that live right there in Denver, saw him a number of times out at Red Rocks, and it rocked. Yeah. Saw him, the Steve Miller Band, the Doobie Brothers, and who was oh, yeah, it was Steely Dan. Yeah. Hell of a concert. Robert V is in the house. Hold out both hands, wish into one and poop in the other, and watch which one. Well, okay. You see, I know my words have effect. When I transcend over, it's going to be amazing because I'll be able to see my words still affecting this realm. It's the realm of idiots. It truly is. All right, let's get serious about this because we really need to get into this because there is, in fact, an agenda that is unfolding. And no matter how many times we meet and greet and sitting down and, pass the pipe around and, et cetera, there is something that we were told about, our species was, and we didn't resist. And so we basically all consented. I said that the planet is ruled by idiots, and it is. But we're going to see that this idiocy is actually following a plan, a script. I wrote in my notes, I said, what we're going to talk about today is that this has been in the implementation phase for a long time. And it's about to get really, well, I'll let you see. And just for full disclosure up here, everything that I'm going to be talking about will be supported by organizations like the UN. That is the one that has really put this together with the consent of nearly, I think it was 138 countries. So if you live in a country where your leaders gave consent, by default, you've given your consent. This is something I learned years ago. And if you study, whether it's, the esoteric points of philosophy, whether you look at being more stoic, dogmatic, whether however you've put yourself into this realm and in your place in space and time. But here's something I learned a long time ago. They cannot do anything. And anything that I mean in the reference of harming us, altering us, changing us. There's a universal principle, apparently, that cannot be violated. Those that violate it pay a very, very heavy price. And I could get down into that rabbit hole. But anyway, so they have to tell us they're going to be doing this to us. So it's no surprise, all right? So let's talk about, and by the way, Sanji is here. Say hello, Sanji. It's a powerful, powerful energy. I'll put it that way. This Sanji can talk to you in your dreams. You can talk to me right here in my office. I'll just be going, and then boom. So let's get into this. There is an agenda that is unfolding, and I want to see where I want to start. Yeah, I'll start there because we got a lot of ground to cover. And if you want some of the PDFs that I have that I'll be showing you, then let me know. Be more than happy to share. But then again, when you see this and finally realize just what the is happening. Yeah. All right. So let's share the screen. All right. This document is the United Nations official document. Can be downloaded on their website. This is the official Agenda 2030. This particular document was produced in 2019, pre-pandemic. And in this is full disclosure of exactly what they are going to do, and they're doing it. What we see unfolding right now, if you're in the know, let me just tell you this. If you'd have paid attention, and I covered this a couple of years ago, but if you'd have paid attention and were really astute and really wanted to make money and profit, you see, trillionaires are in the process of being made because they know what's coming. And if you know what's coming, then you can literally anticipate the markets. Make you a wizard, make you a witch, a freaking really rich witch. All right. So this is the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Now, this may seem boring, but I'll just say this, do that at your own peril. Ignore this at your own peril. It's too late. There's nothing. Understand me, ladies and gentlemen, nothing we can do is going to stop this. The best we can do is be prepared to react to it. So a sustainable development, that is so, you have to understand what the definitions that they are speaking from mean. This document, again, is, you can go to sustainabledevelopment.un.org and check it out. I don't have enough time to go through all of this, but their mission statement is kind of this thing. If you don't understand the language, then even when it's spoken, you're not going to have much Gnostic value. So let's read this together. This is the preamble. Now, for those of you who are initiates, adapts, well into the craft, you're about to figure out, yeah, when you hear this, you understand what spells are. You see, you can't merely just sit, to mentally think something into existence can be done. But for most of us that operate in this realm, there is a process. There's a reason why if you're wanting something, if you're desiring something, it's one thing to continue to keep it in your head, but it's quite a different thing. And things change when you write it down. And when you write it down, you speak it. So let's look at the spell. This agenda is a plan of action for people, planet, and prosperity. Now, you can easily come in and say, well, I can take for granted what I think people and planet mean. Maybe, maybe not. Remember how you break the word down, assume. It only makes an ass out of you and me, and prosperity. Now, I don't know what the UN's definition is of prosperity. I have my own. I know what the definition is, and according to Webster's. Yeah. Anyway, it also seeks to strengthen universal peace in larger freedom. These are all extraordinary goals, magnanimous. We recognize the eradicating poverty in all its forms and dimensions. Did you catch it? Yeah, I'm I can't see the chat room, but I'm sensing many of you going, oh, yeah. Forms and dimensions. Why would a worldly organization be invoking such terms? Even going so far as to saying, including extreme poverty, is the greatest global challenge and indispensable requirement for sustainable development. It's equal share to everybody is basically the ideology behind there. Everyone deserves to have a peace. I agree with that. It's just that my methodology would be counter to some of what we're about to threes. That's all countries and all stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders? You and me. Acting in collaborative partnership will, not maybe, could, not if we just wish upon a star. No, this is a high action word, will implement this plan. We are resolved to free the human race from the tyranny of poverty and want, and to heal and secure our planet. Now, isn't it interesting, the word secure? We are determined to take the bold and transformative steps. Transformative steps. Break that word down. And they said they're determined to take the bold step. Well, this is which are urgently needed to shift the world on a sustainable and resilient path. As we embark on this collective journey, we pledge that no one will be left behind. I mean, when I read that, I'm going, okay, come on, folks. I mean, if you're going to do the script, why are you quoting George Bush? Remember his mantra, his failure, leave no child behind. Get this, the 17 sustainable development goals and 69 targets, which we are announcing today, demonstrate the scale and ambition of this new universal agenda. Now, universal, there's another one. What do they mean, universal? Do y'all remember back when we were in the lockdowns and we did the people were doing the howling? Yeah, you tell me how they think of us. They seek to build on the Millennium Development Goals and complete what they did not achieve. Wow. They seek to realize the human rights of all and to achieve gender equality and empowerment of all women and girls. They are integrated and indivisible and balanced the three dimensions of sustainable development: the economic, social, and environmental. The goals and targets will stimulate action over the next 15 years. Keep this in mind when this was written, in areas of critical importance for humanity and the planet. People, we are determined to end poverty and hunger in all their forms and dimensions. Here it comes again. And to ensure that all human beings can fulfill their potential in dignity and equality and in a healthy environment. Nothing missing. How do you argue that? I mean, if you're against this, then you got to question, then where's your empathy? Planet. We are determined to protect the planet from degradation, including through sustainable consumption and production, sustainably managing its natural resources, and taking urgent action on climate change so that it can support the needs of the present and future generations. Now, you take what you're hearing in the headlines today and now start putting it in perspective. It's following the script. This should, and the thing about it is, I live in a place where it's, God bless America, and we're Republicans, and we're for Trump. What the fuck, people? You got to get out of that crap. I don't care what side of the aisle you all are. They're all the same party. You've got to break away. But understand, they're the ones that are implementing this. Both sides of the aisle. Prosperity. We are determined to ensure that all human beings can enjoy prosperous and fulfilling lives, that economic, social, and technological progress occurs in harmony with nature. I don't have a problem with that. On the surface, this is, again, how could you find a problem? The virtues alone would mean that we would end death virtually. Think about it. We would be in Gene Roddenberry's Star Trek. We would be a part of the Federation. The only thing that we never figured out there with Gene, what he's showing of his future, was that in order to get from there is a whole lot of mixing up in between, and peace. We are determined to foster peaceful, just, and inclusive societies which are free from fear and violence. What the hell is happening in Ukraine? I can go all over the country, the world. See, something's wrong there. There can be no substantial development without peace, and no peace without substantial development. Aren't we glad that we're naked philosophers? Metaphorically, maybe. Anyway, partnership. We're determined to mobilize the means required to implement this agenda through the revitalized global partnership of sustainable development, based on a spirit of strengthened global solidarity, focused in particular on the needs of the poorest and the most vulnerable, with the participation of all countries, all stakeholders, and all people. This is where Klaus Schwab and Gates and the whole bit, this is their ideology. You'll own nothing and you'll be happier. It's really about the only way that this can work. And again, these are virtuous goals, bold goals. And the thing about it is, we know the power in numbers. If you have minds that are already in positions of power, and you make this determination that you basically take it's a vow, your oath. And I'll just say this. There are circles of influence that require those who are in that influence take an oath. And again, you ever break that oath, well, your ticket just got punched. So declaration. Introduction. We, the heads of state and government and high representatives, meeting at the United Nations headquarters in New York from the 25th to 27th of September 2015, as the organization celebrates its 70th anniversary, have decided today on a new global sustainable development goals. You got to think about it. They're 8 years into their plan. On behalf of the people we serve, the peoples, and we're assuming by peoples, that everybody here is human. Are there humans making this, that drafted this, that put this together? We have adapted a historic decision on a comprehensive, far-reaching, and people-centered set of universal and transformative goals and targets. We commit ourselves to working tirelessly for the full implementation of this agenda by 2030. We recognize that eradicating poverty in all its forms and dimensions, including extreme poverty, is the greatest global challenge and an indispensable requirement for sustainable development. We are committed to achieving sustainable development in its three dimensions, as we've talked. It's just repeating. So I'm not going to go through the whole things because we got other things to do, to cover. So read their vision statement as well. I mean, yeah, I'm just going to digress here. Let's go back. In these goals and targets, we are setting out a supremely ambitious and transformational vision. You see, every time I see this word vision, I've been trained in this. And for people, representatives, power, figureheads, I know what the spirit realm does. They're answering or vice versa to either where, but there is a hierarchy in the other realms. So it's a vision. How does a vision come to pass? Very simple. You write it down and then you speak it. Or you can speak it and write it down. All right. We envisage a world free of poverty, hunger, disease, and want, where all life can thrive. We envision a world free of fear and violence, a world with universal literacy, a world that's equitable and universally accessible to quality education at all levels, to healthcare and social protection, where physical, mental, and social well-being are assured. A world where we reaffirm our commitments regarding the human right of safe drinking water, sanitation, and where there is improved hygiene and where food is sufficient, safe, affordable, and nutritious. It ain't working today in this economy. So, admirable goals. And they have this plan, and they have the money, they have the power in which they started the changes. Now, in order for this to happen, you have to begin that there will be no currency. There will be no rich, there will be no poor. All right, so moving on. Now, this is a document called the Long-Term Strategy of the United States, Pathways to Net Zero Greenhouse Gas Emissions by 2050. Now, this was produced in November of 2021. It is available online. You can actually, I think, go to the whitehouse.gov and you will find this. So again, read it. This is their plan. This is the plan that our Congress is behind, the executive branch and the courts. Now, this is well underway. It is already well entrenched, well being implemented, and we're seeing the effects of it. We haven't seen anything yet. All right. So, I want to get up another document. This is the document called the 2030 Spike Countdown to Global Catastrophe. You see, folks, the Holy Grail is controlling human life on this planet. Now, this is an article by Kevin Mugger Galai, I believe, written in 2014. When you read this, you just go, holy crap. Why? Because it's already underway. All right, let's get into the rest of this. Give me over here. Thank you. Now let's begin to talk. All right, so this is the UN's website, un.org. This is the Department of Economic and Social Affairs. Now, what we're seeing taking place at the border is part of this agenda. I'll just state it right here, and I'm going to back this up. You see, there's something underway that the vast majority of Americans are completely clueless about. But they're waking up and finding out. All right, so in this one here, this article, by the way, I think this was 2019, I believe. Yeah, April 1st, April Fools. Countries agree to accelerate action to fully implement historic plan on population and development, emphasizing importance to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. They have not veered off at this. They've doubled down, tripled down on this one. And I'm not going to get into it, but basically it's the UN member states today have reaffirmed their commitment to implementing the goals and objectives of the Program of Action adapted by the landmark International Conference on Population and Development, the ICPD, held in Cairo in 1994. In a declaration, countries agreed that the full implementation of the Program of Action is crucial for achieving the Sustainable Development Goals contained in the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. They're staying consistent. They're not deviating from the plan. They may adjust the plan, but they're not deviating from the plan. It goes in here, talks about why they are, because this has been well underway for decades. Some say that this was actually came into being right before World War I, that we're into the second century of this master plan. And let there be no doubt, even by the UN's own admission, the population of humans must be reduced at any cost. The planet cannot sustain the dramatic increase in human population. The Georgia Guidestones, before they were blown up, and no one wants to talk about that, kept warning us. What is the number? What is the number? 500 million people, humans, will only be allowed. And there's movies that have been made on this one. We can only imagine this one. Well, no, we can. We've seen this in movies, what happens. I remember the Robert Duvall, I believe, THX 1138. Technology had enslaved humans, and because of the climate change, this is back in the 70s, that man had to go underground and AI took over. AI became our God because humans didn't live on the surface anymore. And you could not have sex. Sex was a capital offense. And if a woman were to get pregnant, boy, your ticket just got punched. All right, so let's continue on. This is Project Syndicate. Now, this is an interesting one. It says the world and the UN must reduce population growth. This article came out September 10th, 2019 by Frank Goldmark and Robin Maynard. This article gets in again, right from the get-go. The United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals imply that there is no longer any need to reduce global population growth, even though it is a serious problem that undermines most of their goals. By adding a further SDG aimed at slowing the increase in population, the world could yet save the UN's 2030 agenda. Now, this article gets into the fact of some of the things that, every time a new human being is born, there's a cost associated to that human being. That human being is going to consume consumables. It's going to require care through the rest of its life. And that's what happens. You have to clothe us. You have to eat us. I mean, provide food for us to eat, housing, jobs. I mean, you think about all the requirements that one human being is going to need. Now you multiply that by 8 billion and you can see where the two ideologies begin to have a problem. So this is mapping the world's new megacities in 2030. I have a map here that we can look at specifically on this. So right now, you are witnessing, and according to the models, that we are now beginning to experience what they call, I guess, in the modern age, the third largest migration forced upon humanity because of the change in climate. If you can't grow agriculture, you can't feed people. And you have to figure out, well, how do you feed people? It gets complicated. But here is the master plan. It is to move people out of rural areas and integrate them into the new 33 megacities on Earth. And here is the list of those cities. Now, in this map, you have to look at something very interesting because the Americas are considered one. There is the largest migration taking place in the Americas as I speak. Now, if you continue to look at the story here, that what happens is that because of the changing climate of the planet Earth, it's going to force, by necessity of very survival, for humans to begin to congregate in these megacities. You will be probably most likely chipped into one sector of a city. And in order for you to move to another part of the sector, you have to have council approval, etc. But no doubt, this is what is happening. It talks about just over a decade from today, there will be 5 new megacities in developing countries and 1 from a developed market. Chicago. I did not know this, but I have found something that's very interesting. Look what's happening in who's buying land. It says the Windy City has been on the cusp of the megacity mark for some time. It will finally hit 10 million inhabitants in the coming years. In 2030, it will have by far the biggest GDP of all the new megacities at a roughly 600 billion. Now, you get into Bogota, Landa, I believe that's Shanini, and Bengal, Baghdad, and you can see how they break this down. So, having said that, we continue to go over here, and this is an interesting, because this one is ProPublica. This is a interactive map that begins to show you how this new migration is going to look like. They're already preparing for it. Little FYI, know all those Rust Belt cities? If you're smart, maybe I can say this speculative, but if you've got foreign countries and other mega corporations buying huge swaths of real estate unreported, wonder why? Well, maybe because they know something. You know, stratagems are far more superior to strategies. If you're a stratagem, you are an individual that can understand that to implement the strategy can many times require, some cases, decades, maybe sometimes centuries, maybe even millennial, excuse me. So this map begins to show you talks about how in the paper published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, a team of researchers modeled the human climate niche and the regions where temperature and precipitation have been most sustainable for humans to live in over the past 6,000 years. This gets so interesting. So follow me on this. In the United States, the niche today blankets the heart of the country from the Atlantic seaboard through the northern Texas and Nebraska and California coast. So as you can see here, this one shows most sustainable zone by temperate and by rainfall. So ideal. This is also the American breadbasket. This is where taken into California as well and down into the Southwest and the off-growing season. But this is what feeds us. This is what feeds a lot of people. Same can be said into this generalized region as well. So let's watch this. So, but as the climate warms, the niche could shift drastically northward. Under even a moderate carbon emission scenario known as the RCP 4.5, by 2070, much of the Southeast becomes less suitable and the niche shifts towards the Midwest. So these areas are now what we consider the Rust Belt. Places like Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, up through Michigan, etc. But if you're looking into the future and want planning for your future generations so that your legacy forever will live, think about it. So as we continue to go, in the case of extreme warming, represented by an RCP of 8.5, the niche moves sharply towards Canada, leaving much of the lower half of the U.S. too hot or dry for the type of climate humans historically have lived in. Both scenarios suggest massive upheavals in where Americans currently live and grow food. Think about this, folks. That's not this far in the future. I don't intend to be around. I don't intend to come back around because this ain't going to be fun. What you're talking about is displacement of large groups and numbers of humans. The untold misery and economic upheaval alone would be, I wouldn't even want to think about it. So it goes on, it says, heat is one of the largest drivers changing the niche of human habitability. I can tell you where I live in the Midwest, it sucks. They haven't recorded this kind of humidity. The heat, yes, but oh man. So, and then let me tell you something. Living out in the Mountain West, I can take 105. I remember one time, y'all remember in the Front Range got up to like 110. But the humidity was only 7%. And it cooled off at night. With this freaking humidity, it don't cool off. It's miserable. So it continues to show in this extreme heat and humidity. It says when heat meets excessive humidity, the body can no longer cool itself by sweating. Amen to that. That combination creates wet bulb temperatures where 82 degrees can feel like southern Alabama on its hottest day, making it dangerous to work outdoors and for children to play in school. We know this. We're experiencing this. Is this a trend? I don't know. I didn't make the models. But what I'm trying to show everybody here is that there is a correlation between both events. Now, you could get off into the different conspiracy theories, different alternative points of view, different theories themselves. Can man have the technology to manipulate weather? Well, if they can, well, then imagine what kind of wealth you would generate from that. So it says by mid-century, heat and humidity in Missouri will feel like Louisiana does. Well, I think I know what it feels like to live on a swamp. It says, while some areas we don't usually think as humid, such as southwestern Arizona, will see soaring wet bulb temperatures because of the factors like the sun angle. Well, now, wait a minute. Do they know something about the sun angle that I don't know? Yeah, I do know something about that. Wind speed, cloud cover, reacting to high temperatures, according to Hannah Hess and the Rhodium Group. Large wildfires. We're living this. And look, this is not into Canada, but yeah. Sea level rises. Well, this one has been difficult for them because, well, not to say that it may or may not happen, but it hasn't happened as the model says. Farm crop yields. Well, this is the problem. Where you see those purple things, that ain't good. It's been so hot in Texas, the crops are burning up in the field. Same thing up here in the Midwest. I mean, and the harvest was already wiped out. Yields of less than 50%. And now in this horrendous heat and humidity that's just frying, wilting the vegetation. With this, there is a calculated cost to the economy of any nation, any country. This one is getting expensive. Go to the store, you can begin to see it. And it says, as the populous cities with expensive real estate, including Houston and Miami, will see damage tallying into the billions, less worth several percentage points of GDP. Because guess what, folks? You're not going to be able to live in this. I have family in Houston, and they've never seen it like this. I grew up there in, hello, Darlene, little town in Genoa. Worked out in the garden all summer long. They didn't have those type of temperature. I don't really remember the humidity being that oppressive, but it is now. And we've only begun, you haven't heard about it, but there are people dying because of the heat. So this gets into it. If you want it, let me know. I'll be more than happy. It's again, you can go to the project publica.org. So then you begin to see these mass wildfires in densely populated areas. Now, in this article here, this is again the propublica.org, same organization that we just looked at. Because of the droughts, because of the changes in weather patterns, this is going to become more and more an issue, according to the article here. Now, I'm not saying this, but they seem to be a lot more knowledgeable on it. But again, every time one of these events happen, it drives up the insurance, because if a house is insured, then you know there's going to be insurance claims, what have you. But what happens inevitably, if there is not some sort of federal or some kind of national intervention, most of these areas, people migrate on to other places. Yeah. So in this one, this is brilliantmaps.com. These are the Regional Plan Association's list of the 11 mega regions of the United States as part of their America 2050 project. And one of the reasons why I left the Mountain West area is that's ground zero. No matter how much I love that beautiful area, it's no way that when this hammer comes down that I want to be in there. Because there is the plan. They've already divided. Now, it's interesting here. They talked about the 11 mega regions, which are in fact inside 10 super regions. They're already there. Homeland Security, it's already set up. You can easily find those maps But this one here, I wanted to show you in terms of estimated population by 2025, they would rank in the following order. So the Great Lakes, 60.7 million. This includes Chicago. Northeast, 58.4. You're seeing these increases, right? Southern California, well, they're saying an increase of about 5 million. Texas Triangle, Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, Austin. Explosive growth going on down there. Glad I lived in Austin when Austin was still a hippie city. It ain't anymore. Piedmont, Atlantic. That's the whole area there on Interstate 4 as you go through the Research Triangle. Florida, Northern California, the Gulf Coast, Cascadia, Arizona, etc., and the Front Range, which includes Denver. So, changes. Now, here's where you get into a little bit more of the other side of the story, the plan to depopulate the world. Now, this is nothing new. Here, they're using the United Nations plot to depopulate the world by 95% in 2030. Problem is, we can't find that literally written down. However, when we look at certain other publications that we know, for instance, Deagle, which is no longer up there, but there's once on the web, it's always on the web, and it's still this whole depopulation. We look at this, and it seems to be selective. Great Britain, United Kingdom, you guys, I don't know what the hell is going to go on over there, but whoa, you're going to see an interesting depopulation. Look at this. I mean, you have 66 million, right? So 15 million. United States. In the year 2017, 327 million people. But when we get down here into the forecast of 2025, we're just at 100 million. I mean, it crushes our economy, crushes our GDP. You look at what we're servicing on the debt right now. If this was to happen, the United States would crumble. Now, I don't know if this was all part of this master plan of whoever these people or beings are saying, hey, we told you. You were just too damn lazy to get out there and collect the data and connect the dots. Now, have we connected dots here? Who knows? I think we've connected some dots because it's very plain. It's the plain that something is going to happen. I don't know what that is. I don't know if this is just, whatever. But as my whole point to this whole topic for today is that something, you can see it. And this is using their information, their publications, their data. That's fine. We're smart enough that we can interpretate the data. We can extrapolate, That's what I did. Yeah. So, folks, I just want to let you know this agenda is well underway. The collapse of the dollar, the greenback, discussed that last week, and just start looking at this. Everything is connected. And it's all leading to one area. And I will say this, in the United States, we got an idiot in the White House. This guy, but here's the other thing. His whole administration are a bunch of idiots. And here's something else. The whole freaking Congress is all idiots. There ain't one bright bulb in the whole bunch. Well, I have to say maybe Robert Kennedy Jr. I like him. Let me just say there may be, amongst about, what is it? There's 416 in the House, somewhere around there, and 100 in the Senate. So out of about 520, there may be about 30. But the rest, and they're going along with this. Look at the Inflation Reduction Act. You ever study those things? People don't read those bills. I do. I'm a little weird in that thing because I want to see where the freaking money's going. And there's a lot of it going. In fact, they're spending so much money. I'm just sharp enough to say when someone starts spending money completely recklessly with complete abandonment of common sense, fiduciary responsibility, because they don't plan on paying it back. What do they know that we don't know? I mean, if you ain't going to pay back the debt, what do they know? Well, let's see. If I have $1 now, and they say that the dollar is no longer any good, but they're going to give me this digital thing that I can't see, but they're only going to pay me 10 cents. Oh, wait a minute. They may only pay me a penny on the dollar. So you may have, I don't know. Let's just say you have $100 in the bank. Now all you have is $1. But Wayne, they wouldn't do that. Sure they would. They've done it before. Done it several times. And they'll do it again. So, well, Jeanette, don't look at that. I mean, come on. I got people that, you can't get divided on those things. If a person has a thing, that's fine. If they support something, fine. You can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I happen to like Robert Kennedy. He's a common sense politician. A politician. Now, I wish the United States had statesmen and stateswomen. We don't. You see, for a statesman to be in Congress, they wouldn't accept any pay. No salary. No, they would throw out the lobbyists. They would take no money at all. So if they get elected, what are they going to do? They want to get rich off of you. But if they're a statesperson, you could trust them. That their word would be honorable. Today, what we have in Congress is all a bunch of liars, deceivers. This is the realm of deception. I've talked enough about what Washington is. It's not the glorious city of God. Well, there's gods, but not the ones most people are sitting there worshiping and saying, well, God bless America. Maybe you ought to question yourself again, as we say on this channel, which God is God blessing America? Okay. Yeah, Janet, that's what I'm saying. A statesperson, that's what we had. I mean, these were farmers, carpenters, stonemasons. Yeah, they had some of the elite in there, but those cats were also, marijuana has been around for a very long time. Some of those founding fathers knew about such things and no doubt participated in it. Rick says, preaching to the choir. Yeah. And can't we all sing? I just love it. All right, all together now. There we go. So, folks, for what it's worth, I mean, we got idiots because they don't need smart people. They don't need people with common sense. What they need are the deceptors. And that's what we got. The head of our country is a deceptor. Decepticons. They're here. They've taken over. They rule the world. Now, and I'm changing Earth's name to Planet Spango. We don't deserve Earth as a planet anymore. Planet Spango is a planet ruled by idiots. What does that say about us? We allowed them in there. So we're idiots as well. I'll end it on that. So much love to y'all. Be here tomorrow. I don't know what in the world we'll talk about, but hey, you know, this is the Naked Philosopher's Corner, and we talk about the things that most people don't. We love our species. It's just that some of us haven't figured it all out, have they? Rage Against the Planet. They're fixed. Okay, I love all of you. This is so cool. Hey, Jenny. Yes, the land grabs. I'm just going to let me tell you something. Now I'm speaking to some people who can actually do something. Start looking at some of these cities that you've seen vast migrations away, the rural blight that they talk about. You know, if you're smart, some of these cities are giving away property, giving it away. Oh, you may have to pay $1, but think about, be a stratagem, not a strategist. Put the stratagem in there. Extrapolate out. Anyway, guy, I love Naked Philosopher. And see, I'm telling you, I'm going to get a t-shirt made up of these. I'm going to tell you, I'm just going to have it done because I happen to think that it's a groovy place to be. You know, we bear all. That's it. Okay, folks, much love to you. Make sure to go over on Rumble. Check that out. Check out Miss Nina over on her channel. I know she does the hump to. Hey, Gilbert. You way to go, buddy. Finally passed on that. Gilbert was in the bureaucracy of the emissions testing. Oh, yeah. So if you make the pizza, somebody else will bring the chocolate. Hey, no kidding. I will always bring the chocolate. Hey, Rennie. I mean, yeah, the chocolate, it's the first food group. Not the fourth, it's the first. All right. Love you back, Mary Wednesday. I do. All right. So everybody, hey, Elderberry, what's up? All right, folks, smile. That's the only thing you can do. Smile, because it's here, and it's going to get a little weirder, but just take a good perspective and say, all right, I've got the popcorn. I got my favorite drink, got my favorite chair. Let the show begin. Hey, Chloe, good to see you, my love. And I think Trina's in there and Kaz and all the rest of you. All right. I'll shut up and move on. All right. Until we meet again. Much love.